You know, we all have a story. I love the fact that they set it up that I'd come here after Christy did such a great job. Give Christy a round of applause, amazing. And one of my favorite questions to ask any prospect, any new team member, and I probably asked you if we've had any one-on-one time, is, what's your story? And I love it because we all have an incredible background. We've had trials that we've had to go through. We've had times where we've broken down, and then we have times that we've broken through. And when they asked me to come and to speak at this incredible event, our 10-year anniversary, I had my plethora of options of what to talk about. And of course, I could have shared, you know, the newest, hottest Facebook strategies and how over the last 10 years we've amassed hundreds of thousands of followers online, or how we've been able to earn over $2 million in 3.5 years here in this incredible company. I could have shared all of that, and then I realized, how was any of that possible? And what I realized was the fact that the top 0.1%, everyone that's sitting in the top third of this room, they have all looked at their story and developed their story a little bit different. How many guys would like to know what that looks like? Say yes. Now I'm here to show you the truth. Unapologetically, vulnerably, and extraordinarily raw. See, I know what it's like to sit in the back of the room as a newbie network marketer and to look at all of the elites and the masters and the trip earners and the 6- and 7-figure income earners and to think, they got it made. Their life must be so easy. How many guys admit you probably thought these things once or twice? They probably never get no's. They never get rejected. Their family tells them that, oh, it's certainly not a scam. They never get that, right? How many guys, be honest, you've thought that. But I want to share with you guys that it's so much deeper. See, every single person that you come across in life, and certainly as your mentors, is they have two people. They have the external person, which is who we project, what we wear, what we do, our rank, our title, our bank account, and I call it our mask. It's the, how are you? I'm fine. How you doing? Oh, I'm good. When you're totally breaking down inside. See, our internal person, our second person, this is our thoughts and our fears and our doubts. These are all the experiences that we've had. These are our emotions and our beliefs. And I love digging into somebody's story because here's the truth. Every part of our story has been molded by the wins and the losses and the peaks and the valleys, and everything that we have gone through in our life has culminated to who we are today. And I want to take these next few minutes and I want to give you guys a skill set. How many guys are ready? Say, I'm ready. I want to give you a skill set because the next time that when you leave this room today, when you fly home tomorrow, when you're ramping up to do your influencer run, when you're trying, you know, you're like earning as much Cancun cash as possible. Who are my Cancun girls and men out there? You guys, my amigos, amigas, you're gonna join us? I know that you're going to eat the dirt. I know at some point you're gonna fall, you're gonna fail, and you're going to have to choose, am I gonna be a victim of my circumstance or a victor? Am I gonna sit and sulk in this trial or am I gonna triumph? And am I gonna be on a first-class ticket to the Hot Mess Express, or am I gonna turn this situation into a message? And the title of this talk is really about breaking down or breaking through. Now, a couple times during this conversation, I'm gonna say to you guys, I had the choice to break down or I could. Let's practice. I had the choice to break down or I could. One more time, I had the choice to break down or I could. Now, in doing this conversation and being super raw, I'm gonna share some intimate details of my life that I've gone through, and it's not to elevate me by any means. Many of you guys have gone through worse. It's just to show you that this is life and this is what we go through. And this is something that I've learned, is that I've been able to break through and somehow not identify with my struggle. So I hope you guys find yourself a little bit in this story. It really began for me back when I was 15 years old. I was your typical teenager, worried about boys, getting good grades, being popular and accepted and fighting acne. The normal things that 15-year-olds should care about. I was also in musical theater, and the opening night of one of our plays, I became really sick, and I kind of thought it was stomach nerves. Well, unfortunately, those stomach issues continued on for several weeks. Ended up having to go to a gastroenterologist, a GI doctor, and I got diagnosed with mild ulcerative colitis. How many of you guys have heard of ulcerative colitis? Kind of like Crohn's. That was November. 6 weeks later, I was admitted to Children's Hospital in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and they took me into emergency surgery. That is me, if you guys can show the picture. And I want you to take a look at my left hand. That's white knuckling the opiate button. In fact, I was in so much pain, I was literally wasting away in front of the doctors that they thought I was just some young little druggy kid trying to get morphine. And so we had to battle that. They rolled me into emergency surgery the day after Christmas, where they opened me up and they took out my entire large intestine. They said if they had waited even 8 hours, I would have been dead. I would have died from sepsis. I wake up from that surgery. I spent another 2 months in the hospital. 10 CAT scans, dozens of surgeries, reconstructive infections, you name it, it went wrong. At my 5'11" frame, I got down to 112 pounds. I remember the moment exactly because there's very little memories of that hospital room except for the feeling of death. But I remember my mom getting in my face and she said, if you don't get out of this hospital room, you will never get out. And I got out that week. I got home on immunosuppressive leukemia type drugs. I lost most of my hair in high school. Not fun, not recommended. I had to live with an ostomy bag for several years until they reversed it, which is when you basically go to the bathroom. You imagine being 16 years old and being bald and having to go to the bathroom in a bag? I learned very quickly to have thick skin. I learned very quickly that I had to break through the stigmas. I learned very quickly the power of taking care of your body and your temple. I could break down or I could. Life got very interesting in 2006. Thankfully, I was finally able to get some restoration to my health when I turned 18. It was about 30 some odd surgeries from 15 to 18. And in 2006, I was 21 years old and I got introduced to network marketing. I'm so grateful that I got dragged down to a meeting to the Phoenix area Airport Marriott. And I started at the tender age of 21. I had 81 people on my name, and I was awful. Gosh, I wish you could have been there my first month. I was doing 2 to 6 presentations a day, and my first 30 days in network marketing, guess how many I signed up? How'd you guys know? 0. It was awful. And for the next several years, I struggled. I called it my not-for-profit MLM. Because I'd make a few hundred and then I'd spend a few hundred, and then I'd make 1,000 and then I'd go to an event. And I was so frustrated because I could recruit. I finally figured out the skills. I was going to all the events. I was doing what I thought the top earners were doing. I was listening to the tapes, and somehow it just wasn't working because anybody ever been there before? You're like, come on. But I knew, guys, that I could break down or I could. I was really lucky to have great mentors in my life that started to introduce me to the concepts of social media. This is back in 2009 when there was nobody on social media, nobody on YouTube except for like cats. I started recording videos, I started building a list, but then the economy crashed. And at the time, my then husband owned an insurance agency that was built upon real estate. So when the economy crashed in Phoenix, Arizona, we were thrown into 3 foreclosures, not 1 home, not 2, 3. He claimed bankruptcy, we lost our traditional business and had to fire 3 employees. At this point, I'm 3 years into network marketing. What do we do in network marketing? We sell the dream, right? But I was po. Not even poor. I couldn't afford the OR. Po. I had to go back and get a job. This is me as a 3-year network marketer that had to take my ego off and I had to go back to work. I called it a project, put the picture up there. This is me at my half cubicle. I didn't even get a full cubicle. Got a little half cubicle. And thankfully I learned skills at that mortgage company, became the top closing person, was closing 20 to 22 loans a month at 24 years old, because I could break down or I could. Now in 2011, my life changed forever because I met a woman named Tara Wilson. And I said to her, teach me to crawl, walk, then run. She was the equivalent of an elite after 90 days. I said, grab me, I'll do whatever you says, whatever you say, even if it sounds dumb. I reached the top female earner of that company in 16 months. Here's what's so amazing. My past did not dictate I was a failure for 4.5 years, and in 16 months, making 7 figures. This is me in front of 15,000 people, speaking at a convention at the Miami Heat Arena. And it was amazing until it wasn't. The company was a typical pop and drop. And over the course of 4.5 years, we had 300,000 customers join our team. The month we left, 3,000 remained. I watched 90% of my business fall apart. I watched 90% of my elites leave. I was told to my face that I was a horrible leader. I was told when we left, we would never go back to the top. Well, I'm saying right now, told you so. And I could have let those things get to me. How many guys have ever had that? A person that said, you can't do it, you're not gonna make it, what are you thinking? Dream about these things? Guys, you have the choice. You can break down or you can. Fast forward to October 10th. By the way, 1010 is my lucky number. Just saying. Has been all my life. We joined LifeVantage, and it has been one of the single smartest decisions that we've ever made. So grateful to this company. But guys, it's not been easy. It has not been easy. We have had so many trials. It's not been the company. The company's been amazing. Here's what's happened. I want to give you guys my unbelievably raw timeline. You guys ready? You still with me? 2017. I'm a little over a year into the business. My dad, stepdad who raised me, was diagnosed with rapid onset dementia. It's not a disease I would wish upon anybody. You watch your loved ones slowly fade away. A few months later, after years of trying to conceive a child, I found out that I was infertile. My previous surgeries had destroyed my fallopian tube so badly there was no chance to ever naturally conceiving. In the midst of an in vitro fertilization, and by the way, if you're trigger squirmish, you might want to not look at the slides. In June of 2018, during an IVF cycle, we realized and found that the doctor saw a 5-inch mass on my right ovary. They didn't know if it was cancerous, they didn't know if it was benign, but what they did know is it had to come out before I'd have a baby. And in that time, guys, these doctors told me, they said, this is a life-threatening surgery, but you have no choice but to get it done. And so I was like, well, that makes sense why I'm so bloated and in pain all the time. And so finally, guys, we booked the surgery. It took 5 months for 2 of the best surgeons in the country to get together at St. Joe's in Phoenix to do my operation. But in that process of waiting, of hoping, of contemplating, of praying, is this gonna work? Am I gonna make it? What happens if there's complications? My marriage imploded. And being a woman of faith, this is probably the single worst thing I could possibly imagine. And in that time, I'm leaving my marriage and I have surgery. 8-inch incision, what was been an 8-hour surgery, they did it in only 3.5. God was there in that room that day. He protected me, he guided me, and I realized how strong I really am because I've known that forever I can break down or I can break through. Now the last 2 years, I'll be really honest, I didn't want to show up. I wasn't 100% most days, guys. Some days I wasn't even 10%. I was in pain physically. I was in pain emotionally. I was in pain spiritually. But this is what I found out, guys, is like we have a choice. When we talk about one of the greatest gifts from God, I always say it's free will. It's the ability to choose. You guys, you have a choice to become your story. Some of you guys have created, like, you've become the identity. Oh, I have MS, or I am dyslexic. You've owned that identity, and that's been your excuse. You can also choose to take a back seat to your life. You can be a passenger. You can watch everybody else just take control of it, or you can claim, well, what was me? And some of you guys have a reason to do that, but it's your choice. Now, here's the amazing thing about life as I close. You're either currently in a challenge, you're just coming out of a challenge, or guess what's right around the corner? And what is that called? That's life, guys. That's life. Here's what I'm gonna tell you guys. You are called for something greater. I know that you guys came here to the Elite Academy because you have the desire, something in your heart has brought you here. Am I right or am I right? Something has been tugging to you. There's a voice inside of you that's dying to be heard. I want you guys to all stand up for me right now. And grab your neighbor's hand, and I want you to repeat after me. I am enough. I am worthy. I will lead, not follow. I will believe, not doubt. I will create, not destroy. I have the choice. I'll keep my eye on the prize. I will not give in, give up, break down. I will always break through. Stay standing. Guys, I want you to know that you're going to leave this event I want you guys to know that you're going to leave this event and you're going to be out there, and I want you guys to imagine that you're like a BMX racer at the starting line, ready to run influencer, ready to rank up, ready to tackle your dreams, ready to break through, and you will eat the dirt. I'm going to ask you guys to watch this right now, put yourself in this biker, and I just want you guys to break through. Roll the clip.